Hello, beautiful humans, and welcome to Growing Through It, a podcast dedicated to bringing you clarity so that you can harness your curiosity and be the creator of your life. Hosted by me, Shanae Rowe. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Thank you for being here. Very happy to have you back as always. This is episode 25. It is called Every Choice You Make is the Right Decision. And before we jump into this episode, I really want you guys, wherever you are, wherever you're listening to this, firstly, I just want us to take a moment and reflect on kind of where you are. Not even just like physically where you are, but where you are in your life. You know, wherever that may be, just take a moment and think about every single thing that you did that allowed you to get to this point. Everything that you had to endure, every fun interaction that you had with someone, every relationship, every friendship, every conversation that you had, every fight that you had, every struggle that you experienced. Just like, I want you to close your eyes and take a moment to just think about anything and everything that comes to mind when you think back on your life and when you think about where you are now. Because where you are and who you are now is not possible without every single thing that you have experienced. The good, the bad, the painful, the joyful, all of it. None of it was for nothing. Like, you experience all of that so that you can be here in this moment as you are. Whether you're living on a tropical island or you've settled down and you've found a little bit of stability, whether you're overseas, whether you're still, in your hometown planning on your first move away from home, like whatever it is, just take a moment and appreciate where you are. Reflect on everything that you've done, every choice that you've made that has allowed you to get there. All right, I hope it was a wonderful time of reflection for you. And I wanted to start off with that because I think being able to trust that every choice we make is the right choice for us comes from being able to reflect on where we are and have gratitude for where we are. Because if you are not thankful for the position that you're currently in and for the person that you currently are, it's really, really hard to believe that you can't make the wrong decision for yourself. And even I think when you are grateful for the position you're in, for the life that you've created, it's still really hard to trust that you can make a choice that's right for you and that you can't ever make the wrong choice when you're still in those like challenging moments. I think sometimes we forget that there is no wrong choice, especially when we're in a time that is confronting or asking us to sort of up-level ourselves or, just a tricky situation. Even if like right now you're having the time of your life, you're really content with where you are, you're very grateful for it, it's a beautiful time, it can be hard to sustain that uplifting sort of energy and spirit when we're confronted with new challenges that ask us to make hard decisions and hard choices for ourselves. So yeah, that's why I wanted to open with that, because where you are now is because of every choice that you have ever made. And I will like confidently say that you probably think that none of those decisions are bad. Like if you're listening to this podcast, you probably have a similar view that everything that has happened for you in your life has been beneficial, even if it has been painful. So we're going to go into this episode with the mindset that you have never made the wrong decision in your life, and you never possibly can. But even still, it can be hard to believe that when we're faced with challenging moments. So this episode is kind of about learning how to navigate that and remaining sort of positive and remaining in the energy of your higher self when it comes to needing to make challenging choices and making the right choice for you. So I guess if we commonly have the perspective that every choice you make is the right choice for you and you can never make a wrong choice, why is it that we can still struggle with making decisions? Why is it still hard to problem solve when we're in hard moments and situations, even if we have this core belief that, every choice is the right choice? How come it's still hard? How come we still get stuck in indecisiveness when we know that we can't make the wrong decision? Or even if you're listening to this now and you are kind of like on the fence, like, what do you mean I can't make the wrong decision? What do you mean every decision is the right decision? Well, buckle up because I'm going to explain how. But yeah, I think the fear of commitment is such a big component into why we struggle to make decisions, or why we struggle to believe that we can't possibly do anything like wrong when it comes to deciding what we want from our lives. I think the fear of commitment extends so far beyond like relationships and committing to work or anything of the such. I think fear of commitment basically is believing that if you say yes to something, you are saying no to something else, which is what commitment is all about. But the fear of commitment is wondering if the things you're saying no to are better than what you do end up saying yes to. It opens up this whole space for questioning yourself. What if? What if I choose this and it turns out that the other thing that I was weighing up between is actually so much better for me? What if by saying yes to being in this relationship with someone, I'm limiting myself and I'm, maybe potentially don't end up with the love of my life because I'm already in a relationship? What if I say yes to this job, even though the values don't really align with me and I'm miserable? What if I'm closing myself off to the possibility of a job where I actually enjoy what I'm doing? What if I say yes to traveling overseas instead of saying yes to staying where I am and developing my skills and excelling in my career? What if the option I'm saying no to is actually better than going overseas? What if that's better for me? And it's this big mind game of what if. What if option A is better than option B for me? And what if it's not? Okay. And I guess when we fear committing, it can go either way. It can be, what if this option is better? What if option B is better than option A? Or it can be, what if option A is worse than option B? And I think when we get stuck in that loop of doubting a decision and doubting what's right for us is when we really get stuck and we forget that no matter what choice you make, it's actually going to be the right decision. I think as well why we fear making a decision in the first place, why we have that fear of commitment, is because once we say yes, we feel like we're all in, we're locked in. We feel like we can't go back. We've committed to something and we have to stick it out no matter what. And we're not allowed to change our minds. And I think that's just so not true. I think that our egos play a massive role in keeping us locked into our decisions, or feeling like we're locked into a decision because we don't want to let ourselves down. We don't want to admit to ourselves that we're wrong. We don't want to admit to other people that maybe we were wrong. And so we just avoid making a decision altogether. We're fearing saying yes. And we don't like that idea of being locked into something. Especially when we have all these other thoughts that maybe something is better for us, or maybe this decision is worse for us. And we're just constantly going around and around and around in circles in this absolute hurricane of confusion because we don't know how to make a decision, and we've become lost in ourselves. We've become lost in knowing what's right for us. We've forgotten that we can make any choice work for us. And that's what it means, I think, is the whole purpose of understanding that every choice, every decision you make is the right one. It's not about something being wrong or right. It's about what you do with your choice. It's about actually committing to a decision, running with it, and doing with that choice whatever it is that you need to do. It's not the actual decision that you're fearing, it's the outcome of it. It's not the decision or making a choice or making the wrong choice that is stumping you. It's you completely disregarding the entire element and aspect that once you make the decision, you actually get to create things from that. You get to, you can actually turn that decision into whatever the heck you want it to be, which is the cool part, and it's the part that we forget. Because I think what comes with, the fears of committing, of making a choice, is the fear of making the wrong decision. And I think that fear actually comes from undervaluing our instincts and not actually trusting ourselves enough to make the right decision. Like, you completely downplay your own abilities to the point where you think that something is right for you and something is wrong for you, when that's just not the case. It's about what you do with a situation that matters. It's not about the situation. It's not about the decision. It's about what you do with the decision. And so if we look at right and wrong choices from that perspective, I think the deep-seated cause of getting stuck in the turbulence of indecisiveness is just we downplay our own worth. We doubt ourselves. We don't trust who we are. We don't trust that we are able to make a decision that's right for us. Which, how do you expect to live a life that feels amazing to you, that feels truly aligned and beautiful for you, when you don't actually trust that you can do that? It's pretty crazy to have that be the driving force behind all of your decisions, the lack of trust that you have for yourself. And so when we don't trust that we can make good decisions in our lives, we want people to make them for us. We feel like we can't make the right decision, so we get other people in to try and make the decisions for us. We live our life based on other people's roadmaps and timelines because we trust their decisions and their opinions and their choices more than our own, which is crazy. And I think as well, if we think about why we're so caught up in the idea that we need to make the right decision, it's because we want to create a life that feels fulfilling. We want to create a life where at the end of it we can go, yeah, I'm really proud of everything I did. I'm proud of the person that I am on my deathbed. I am proud of everything that I gave a go, everything that I tried, every situation that I handled, every relationship that I had with people. I'm proud of that. That's kind of what we want, what we all hope to achieve by the end of our lives. And that's a pretty big thing to have weigh down on us, that what if we get to the end of our lives and we don't feel that way, we don't feel proud of ourselves, we don't feel accomplished or fulfilled. And so that's when this fear of indecisiveness, this fear of making the wrong decision can become really daunting, because no one wants to live their life and get to the end of it and be like, yeah, nah, I wish I did so many other things. I wish I lived differently. And so if you think about your life from that sort of perspective, how is you wanting other people to make decisions for you going to allow you to feel fulfilled? They don't know you. They don't know what you like and dislike. They don't know your values. They don't know your experiences to the extent that you do. And if you're delegating someone else to make decisions in your life because you feel like they're a better fit to make the right decision over you, there is no way you're going to get to the end of your lifetime and be like, hey, yeah, I lived my life according to all my beliefs and my values, and I'm so satisfied and fulfilled, and I'm really proud of this life that I created for myself. There's no way that's going to happen for you. No way. So it comes back to trusting yourself, giving yourself the value that you deserve, that you have, trusting your thoughts and ideas and your decision-making abilities. You know, when we undervalue our intuition, when we don't give ourselves the credit that we can make good decisions for ourselves, the consequences of our actions feel bigger than they are. You know, the consequence of making a choice feels massive. You know, what if I quit this job? The repercussions seem huge because you feel like you don't know if you can handle what's going to happen in it because you don't actually trust yourself. Ending a relationship feels so much bigger than it is because you don't trust that it's the right thing for you. You want someone to come in and be like, yeah, nah, toxic relationship, cut it off. And you can be like, phew, because that's what I was thinking. That's not going to happen for you. Someone isn't going to come in and save you. And so the feeling of making a decision all by yourself and the aftermath of that feels so much bigger than it is when you don't trust yourself, when you don't trust the voice inside your head or your abilities or your capacity to learn and grow from an experience. And if that's the mindset you're in, I can guarantee you're constantly feeling overwhelmed by your thoughts, by your indecisiveness, by the need to make decisions about your life. You know, whether that is small everyday choices like what to cook for dinner, or whether that's, oh, do I pack up my life and move to America? Like, choices probably most likely overwhelm you because you're constantly doubting whether it's right for you. You're constantly in your mind about, is it the right decision or is it not the right decision? Am I doing what's right for me, or is this going to end up completely, you know, upside down and I'm going to be a mess? And yeah, so it all comes back to our sense of self-worth, to our sense of brilliance in ourselves, trust in ourselves, for our self-esteem, our confidence, you know, trusting in the moments when we are being asked to make a choice, trusting that whatever choice you make from that is the right one is hard to do when you don't actually trust yourself. So in saying that, how do we act on our thoughts and our ideas and turn them into decisions without getting stuck in this no man's land of, is it the right one? Is it the wrong one? Someone come and save me. Please make this decision for me. I'm not capable. How do we act on our thoughts and ideas before we get to that place of overwhelm? Because it's a really yucky place to be, and I'm sure you're all aware of it. How can you not be? I'm sure all of us at some point in our lives has experienced this state of like, oh my God, I can't do this. Like, what if I choose this thing and it turns out way worse than I expected? Or what if I choose this thing and something else is way better than I expected and it's too late because I don't have it. I chose this other thing, right? So ideally, what we want to do is get from idea to decision, from idea to making it happen. You know, we don't want to fuck around. We don't want to mess around in that state of like, oh, but what if I go here? Or what if I do this? Or what if I work on this? And yada, yada, yada. We don't want to fuck around in that in-between place there, because if we, you know, spend so much time in the place of overthinking, of analyzing things too much, then we're going to create a whole heck of a lot of suffering for ourselves. Instead of going from idea to acting on the idea, we're going from idea to overwhelm, to self-doubt, to fear, to insecurity, and then making the decision, which I don't know about you, but I personally prefer to go from idea, a little bit of thought, and then making a decision. Because all that other stuff, all the self-doubt and the fear of judgment and the overwhelm and the just icky feelings in there, not pleasant. And obviously we have to learn that the hard way, but I think you can definitely 100% get from having a thought, turning it into an idea and then rolling with that instead of having to go through all of this other just head noise. That's not necessary. So how do we do that? I think what we have to do first is talk it out. Talk it out with ourselves and talk it out with another person. And I think you have to go to yourself first, always. And it comes back to being able to trust yourself. You need to think about all of the possible options. Try not to overthink it, okay? You need to evaluate your beliefs. You need to evaluate your life values, what you want to create out of your life. What are your focuses? Is it community? Is it personal development? Is it deep friendships? Like, what are your values? Is it kindness towards everyone? You need to evaluate the values that you hope to achieve out of your life so that you can make a decision that is going to best align with that. Don't think about the actual decision. Think about the values. Think about the things behind the decision. What can the decision create an abundance of? And then, like, once you've sort of got your head around that and what aligns with you, talk it out with someone else. Get a different perspective. Talk to a family member, talk to a friend, talk to someone who has a completely different perspective than you. Challenge yourself a little bit. Try and take on another view. Because sometimes we miss whole other options because we're caught in our own issues. So talk it out. The second thing I think you need to do is, firstly, stop with the thinking, stop with the talking, stop with the analysing, and then just commit. Pick something you've probably known from the start. Maybe you change your mind with a little bit of talking and understanding yourself and navigating whatever needed to be understood. Commit now. There's no going back, okay? And don't go into the commitment in terms of you can't back out of it, because 100% you can. You can change. You can do whatever it is that you want to do. But you need to, for the most part, commit to one lane, stick to it, don't go back, but you can definitely, get into other lanes from the one that you started in. You don't want to be committing to a choice that you feel is right for you and then doubting yourself and then going back and then coming back to that place of indecisiveness of like, I knew I was wrong, so why don't I pick this one now? And I don't know what to do. Right? Pick one thing, see what doors it opens up, and then pick things based on that. It's like a little tree. It's like a family tree of decisions. You don't want to be going back to the original decision. You want to be creating new choices based on that decision that you made. Okay? Because you're going to get new information. You take a step forward, you gain new information, new relationships, perspectives, and then you make decisions based off of that. And then what you want to do is trust yourself. Okay? This is the key part of any kind of decision, especially when you lose sight of knowing that any decision is the right decision. You need to trust yourself. Doubting any choice that you make is just going to get you in this place of immense suffering and turmoil and just pain, unnecessary pain, right? Trust that you can actually make a decision that's right for you, okay? Because the whole questioning and being overwhelmed with options and choices comes from the lack of trust that you have within yourself. That's where it comes from. So you need to trust your abilities. You need to trust that you are capable, all right? And I think why any choice that you make is always the right choice is because you are able to carry yourself through every situation that you are presented with. That's your power. That's no one else's. Okay, so there is no wrong decision because anything you are faced with, you are able to overcome. You are able to work through. If you make a decision and it turns into like the best thing that you have ever done, right? So, you might make the decision to go and backpack Europe and you're like, holy moly, that was like the best chapter of my life that I've had yet. That was insane. Good. That's amazing. You deserve it. You definitely 100% deserve that. And well done for making that decision. And on the other side of things, if you make a decision and it leads to something like really painful and challenging and tough, that doesn't mean that it's the wrong decision. That just means that you needed it. You needed whatever came out of that experience. That's just the way of things. Just because something is difficult or just because something presents a whole lot of painful experiences and emotions and trauma, like if a decision that you make leads to a painful experience, that doesn't mean that the choice was wrong. It just means that you were presented with the information that you needed in that moment. That's all it is. It's always about learning. It's always about growing. That's just life. Just because something is hard and difficult and challenging doesn't mean that it's wrong. Just because you make a decision in your life and it leads to a challenging moment, that doesn't mean that it was a bad decision. That doesn't mean that you're a bad person. That doesn't mean that you don't know yourself. If anything, that means that you know yourself more, because what you learn from making that choice is invaluable. You've just unlocked a whole new fucking dimension of yourself. You've just started remembering all this shit that happened to you and you've decided that you're going to be more, soft and kind and caring as opposed to crazy and erratic. Like, that's invaluable. That is amazing. The rough experiences that you have based off of, decisions that you make are all about learning and reevaluating the world that you're in, the life that you're living, the person that you are. Harder experiences are there to show you that you can change direction. You can change your path. You can learn about yourself. You can learn about other people. Just because a decision that you made led to something hard does not make it a bad choice. That does not mean that you need to abandon yourself and think poorly of yourself and think, oh, here I go again, making crappy decisions for myself. It always leads me into these shit experiences, like I can't do anything right. I'm just not good at anything. I shouldn't be trusted to make choices in my own life. No, that's not the mindset you want. That's not how you want to be talking to yourself and being in your life. You want to look at it from a different angle. Whoa, that choice I made led to some really unexpected, really hard things. Wow, what an amazing opportunity to be able to see the patterns of self-sabotage that I am living out, that I no longer want to live. Look at all these limiting beliefs holding me back from living the life that I want to, the life that I deserve. Think about it from a different perspective. Those hard moments are where you get the opportunity to turn it into a lesson. You get to turn your challenges into an experience of learning, of growth, of development, of healing. The hard moments are still your moments. The decisions that turn into real crappy experiences, They're still your experiences. And you are equipped to handle the outcome of your decision. So stop doubting yourself. Stop thinking that you're not. Stop abandoning yourself when it comes to making choices in your life, because at the end of the day, you're the only one that knows what's right for you. You're the only one that can make a decision that's going to benefit you in the ways that you need it to benefit you. No one else can do that for you. So trust yourself. Trust that you can do it. Trust that you are competent in navigating the really shitty experiences just as much as you are capable of handling the fun experiences. It's all the same thing. They just present different emotions within us. Every choice you make is the right choice. Every decision you are asked to make is always the right one. It is always going to benefit you in some way, whether it's now, through pleasure and joy, or whether it's in hindsight, through introspection and awareness. But it's all right. If we think back to the very start of this episode where I asked you guys to take a moment to think about where you are now and everything that you have done in order to get here, I hope you have an even deeper appreciation for everything that you've been through, especially the hard things, especially when you've fucked up, especially when you've made a really cringe or embarrassing or just painful decision. I hope you're incredibly grateful for those too. Because you wouldn't exist here and now as you are, as everything you are, if it wasn't for every single choice that you have made in your life. And if you're at a place where you're just grateful to fucking be here, where you're grateful for all that's happened, know that you've done that. You made all those decisions to get you here. You made those cringe decisions, but then you also made those really beautiful decisions that allowed you to heal parts of yourself that were making kind of crappy decisions. You're here enjoying life, enjoying the moment, being who you are because of every single choice that you've made. Don't take that away from yourself. Don't take the power away from yourself. You get to do whatever it is that you want with the situations that you're in. That's your power. You get to turn a bad experience into a good experience. You get to turn a good experience into an even better experience. It's all you. You can't make a bad decision. You can't do the wrong thing because you have the power to turn it into something remarkable. So I hope that you can leave this episode really, truly trusting that every choice you make is the right choice, and that even in the moments where you kind of forget that, you know how to come back to yourself and you know how to commit to one decision and trust yourself enough to roll with it and trust yourself enough to know that you are equipped to handle the outcome of your decision. Thank you all for listening along, my lovelies. If you like this one, please share it around and tell your friends about it. Tell your mum about it. I'm sure they'd love to know. Love you all. I appreciate your time so much. But for now, the world is waiting for you, so get on out there and enjoy your big, beautiful life. Bye.